Welcome to Conducting a Cognitive Symphony, a new Procurious podcast series. Hi there, I'm Philip Eidson, the host of Conducting a Cognitive Symphony, a 5-part procurement podcast series sponsored by IBM. And there's many factors that require careful consideration to bring about effective cognitive solutions. It's really akin to conducting a group of musicians. It may be possible, even easy, to attain a pleasant sound from a solo instrument. But when expertly managed, you can accomplish a symphony from an entire orchestra. And this week, Procurious and IBM are taking you through the 5 steps to conducting a dazzling cognitive symphony, from building your orchestra to getting the brass on board and orchestrating your melody. On day 3, Conducting a Cognitive Symphony, I'm joined by Anna Madaras, Analytics and Cognitive Lead at IBM. And in day 2 of the podcast series, we actually talked in detail about structuring data and taxonomies. And so in my follow-up conversation with Anna today, I wanted to understand the implementation. Given the huge amounts of data that can be involved, I started by asking if the processing and reporting of complex taxonomies is reliant on advanced cognitive technologies.
That's a good question. And if you allow me, I would step a little back, because you've been highlighting the human factor in this. But human factor is there not just in processing that data and turning it into insights that are helpful, but human factor is there from the very beginning.
Yeah.
If you are thinking about your client who is placing the requisition, you are dependent on your client as well to select a proper taxonomy for what they would like to buy. Then you are dependent on your buyer to select a proper taxonomy or to correct that taxonomy which was coming with the requisition. So there is tremendous human factor already at the beginning of the process if you do let it flow completely manually. So automation, I would like to split into 2 parts. The first one would be the automation of your procurement process.
Yeah.
And let's start with the client. How can you help to your client? You can already help to your client if you establish a proper taxonomy. If you put yourself in the shoes of an internal client, how would you like to place your requisitions? Do you imagine a free text field where you are putting a paragraph of what you would like to buy? No. You would like to have a logical, hierarchical taxonomy to select from, and then it is helping you to tell what you want.
Yeah.
If there are catalogs in place for pre-sourced items with pre-negotiated prices, then you can make the job of your client even easier, because they can pick up certain items simply from a catalog and they don't even have to go through the detailed requisitioning process. Talking about catalogs, it's definitely a comfort feature for your client, but it is great for your buyers as well. Why would they have to spend time on repeated transactions? If you know that you are buying the same service every month, set up a catalog for that. If you know that you are expecting a lot of purchases from a certain model, let's say in the IT industry, set up a catalog for that. But what is important is that you are not forgetting about the taxonomy aspect when you are setting up these catalogs. You have to make sure that these catalog line items are having the proper taxonomy. Let it be a homegrown hierarchy, family, category, commodity ID. Let it be the UNSPSC code. It is something which your system is driving you to use. But let there be also the manufacturer taxonomy if it is available. So whatever you can use that data for in the future, you shouldn't ignore that data for the automated transactions. So that's about the process, which is still before generating the data. Yep. So a lot really has to happen before you do have that purchase order and the spend in your data warehouse. Then talking about technology. So do we need cognitive tools? Do we need something really fancy to aggregate that data and to analyze that data? You don't have to over-mystify this topic, because I truly believe that with simple technology available for every company for free, you can already do miracles.
Yeah.
But if you would like to broaden your horizon and you would really like to enter to the cognitive space, you are not really just at the analytics level, but you want to enter to the cognitive space, then you have to be open to learn new technology. Machine learning. I think it is something which is a really popular phrase nowadays. It is not detailed in the white paper, but machine learning can be applied, for example, in data aggregation, or if you are looking for patterns which you can't even think of. Mm-hmm. You might have an idea where to look for a pattern, but maybe you can get an insight on a pattern that you've never been aware of. How machine learning can help also, for example, in data acquisition. The taxonomy that we've been talking about up until now is structured data. Part numbers, UNSPSC codes, your homegrown taxonomy. Mm-hmm. You do have fields in your ERP. Those fields are having data in your data warehouse. It is something really structured. But if you do like this data, or you are just about to implement a taxonomy, but you still have a historical base, like you do have your spend to analyze, but all you have is just text that we can analyze, for example, invoice text. You can use machine learning in classifying your spend based on the text that we do see. It won't give you the exact level of accuracy, so you won't have that accurate data that you can have, for example, from catalog line items or from clients or from buyers who are well educated, who have adopted your taxonomy, but this is definitely better than nothing.
Right. And
so all in all, you still have to be open for technology. Yeah.
Yeah, and will it learn? So it may not be accurate, or may not be wholly accurate when it's reading text. Well, when the machine is reading text, the first time it reads a particular invoice. But if you are teaching it to learn by taking that and showing how it maps to something that is maybe more insightful, then the next time the machine sees and reads that text, it will know what to do with it.
Yes, exactly. You are right. And with machine learning, especially with analyzing text, usually teams are running into real funny examples when spend is classified into categories that are looking absolutely weird.
Right.
Like it may turn out that your company has been buying 3 elephants, and then the story could have been that the secret name of the project was Project Elephant.
Right.
But these are exactly the things that you have to teach back to your model that no, we are not buying live animals. Or from these suppliers, we are not buying animals at all, at all. So it's actually good fun to see.
So what are some of the landmines that you've seen others hit? I think procurement organizations are obviously well-intentioned, but they'll have come across issues that you would encourage others to be aware of when it comes to the implementation of transaction automation.
I definitely do have a couple of good advices. So we've been talking about catalogs, how they can make the life of the client, the life of the buyer easier. And as companies do see the positive effect of it, they tend to set targets that, then let's improve. Let's have then more and more percentage of our transaction and spend going through the catalogs.
Yeah.
But don't ever set unrealistic targets, because with this one you can drive the wrong behavior. There is always a logical threshold above which it is worth to apply automation.
Yeah.
Of course, you will not implement a catalog line if you do have only 2 purchase orders of the same nature in a year. And with wrongly defined targets, catalogs can easily go into this direction. And then, of course, you spend more time on creating and maintaining your catalogs than creating your purchase orders. Also, try to avoid the catalog lines that are allowing bulk purchases. Many times it is really not easy to identify the purchase in a fixed line. Like, let's say you are buying server configurations, you are buying storage configurations. Those are made up of multiple parts. So you do have hardware, software, services, elements in it. A configuration can be made up of 50, 100 lines. If you do allow your clients and your buyers to raise purchase orders simply as a one-line item, this server did cost me $1 million, you don't have any analytical insight on this. Of course, it's a really sensitive balance, because you also want to avoid the workload with raising incredibly granular purchase orders. So it is really your call at what level you would like to analyze this category. If this is a category which is your main area of focus, then try to go granular, try to get the data. If it's not, then it's your call if you are allowing these bulk purchases. And the same goes with catalog line items with which you are allowing too big level of flexibility, like you are allowing the clients to amend the text, you are allowing the clients to amend the price. In certain categories, certain areas, it might be necessary. But again, you might be losing the analytical value of this data if you are too flexible. And these flexibilities that you are allowing can be even driven simply from targets that are set, that you have to reach a certain level of automation. This is exactly the point when you have to say, stop, no, you do something which is rational for the business and rational for your goals.
Thanks for listening to Day 3 of Conducting a Cognitive Symphony, sponsored by IBM. Head on over to Precurious.com for additional content on our blog and to contribute questions or comments via our discussion board. And you can also download Marco Romano's white paper, What are the Success Factors in Cognitive and Analytic Strategies and Adoption, via IBM.com.